way of getting hold of the person and playing both on his physiology and his psychology till he really breaks down, and then you can implant a new idea in his head. Biological life on Earth is a question of balance, and what we have done is to practice death control in a most intensive manner without balancing this with birth control at the other end. Consequently, the birth rates remain as high as they were, and death rates have fallen substantially. Will do it by bypassing the sort of rational side of man and appealing to his subconscious and his deeper emotions and his physiology, and so making him actually love his slavery.
In an age of accelerating overpopulation, of accelerating overorganization, and ever more efficient means of mass communication, how can we preserve the integrity and reassert the value of the human individual?
Now, I think what is going to happen in the future is the dictators will find, as the old saying goes, that you can do everything with tyrannics except sit on them. That if you want to preserve your power indefinitely, you have to get the consent of these ruled. And this they will do, partly by drugs, as I foresaw in Brave New World, partly by these new techniques of propaganda.
distraction through algorithmic destruction. Like me, you say I need you to like me now. Cold hands, warm suffocation, true lies, fake condemnation. Guilty, you don't care if I'm guilty now. Immortal enemy, war in reality, I'm just a casualty of your calamity. My mother mania. My mother mania. My mother, I tried to find you. My mother mania. My mother mania. My mother, I tried to find you. You take the lead and say follow. Coercion till we are hollow. Silence. You say I'm violent with silence now. The gods were stacked in your favor, yet you're desperate now for a savior. You caused the storm, you're a traitor, a traitor. Immortal enemy, war in reality, I'm just a casualty of your calamity. My mother mania. My mother mania. My mother, I tried to find you. My mother mania. My mother mania. My mother, I tried to find you. There's no escape, there's no return. I'm just collateral to burn. I'll drift away, embrace your arms, oh mother, mother, save me now. Mother, save me now. My mother, my mother, my mother mania. My mother mania. My mother mania. My mother, I tried to find you. My mother mania. My mother mania. My mother, I try. Take me, mother mania. Save me, mother mania. Take me, mother mania. Mother mania.
ELYXIR and ABSYNTH in the house.
Hello.
Hi. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, pleasure to meet you, ELYXIR.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah, good to meet you.
That was such a wonderful acoustic performance of
It really was.
Mother Mania. That was so fantastic. Congrats to you and Neil, you're both. And how you guys coordinated that was really brilliant.
Yeah, I basically just sent video off my phone, and then he did video on his phone, and he just sliced it all together.
Oh, wow, that was
So
that's really
like,
cool.
worked
Well
really
done.
well. It worked
Mhm.
really, really well.
You guys both sounded really great, and your voice is so amazing.
Oh,
So
thanks.
amazing.
I do my
Yeah,
best.
amazing. I thought it was wonderful control on that version because the original track is a belter, isn't it? It's a big track. So like pulling it back like that, it sounds awesome. It's great version.
Yeah, And when I do an acoustic version, I like to kind of play around with the melody a little bit. Sometimes it's out of necessity so that I can actually hit the stuff, because sometimes I write really, really difficult. Get off. All right, really
That's
difficult
so
melodies.
welcome in this show, by the way.
And so in the acoustic versions, I kind of can play around a little bit and do different things. So I always like to bring something new to the table, and I really like to control my choices vocally, because I can do a lot of different things. I do have a voice that can be a little bit more grislier and beltier, but then also very soft. So I like to kind of pick my pockets of where I'm going to be a little bit beltier and where I'm going to be a little bit softer.
Yeah, well done. And it's such a great song and a perfect example how, you take a song like that, you can produce it to the nines and make it big, in production, but then, it still has to be beautiful when you strip it down to its basic chords and, basic melodies. And it's just a perfect example of what that is.
Yeah,
So,
I like all my work to be like that. So
Mhm.
whenever I have a track that I'm doing, I want the melody to resonate just with basic chords as well.
Right. Awesome.
On the chords, at what point in the songwriting process did you decide to do the key change? I'm fascinated.
Well, I actually got the track. I got a bare bones version of the track when Neilio approached me to do it. And he already had it in there. It was all him.
Okay.
So, and it took me a while to work it out when I was trying to write the top line, because the key changes twice. So there's 2 key changes in the song, and it's very subtly done, but it was very hard for me to find the right note to end it on and the right way to transition back in. Because everything that I was trying to do, because I didn't click that there were 2 key changes, and I was trying to like go up and do similar to what I'd done in previous choruses, and it just didn't work. It sounded horrendous. So I messaged Nelia and I'm like, what is going on with this key change? Like, I don't get like
where's the first one? Is it in the guitar solo? Where's the
no, so the first one is when it goes into the my mother mania.
Oh, yeah.
And then
okay.
Yeah. It's
try. That is where it transitions again.
Right. Okay. Oh my
So it
god.
goes back into the original key. But I had to find a way to do that, because when I was trying to do I tried to find you or you, it wasn't working because it wasn't in the same key. Cat! Oh my god!
I love it.
Gosh, I cannot get. How am I going to do these job interviews today? I tell you, I cannot get through a single video call without my cat being a psychotic, just diva. Anyway, yeah. So there's 2 key changes, and it was really hard for me to work out what note I had to hit, because there was only maybe 1 or 2 notes that matched in both keys, and I had to land on that so that it would transition.
Right. Okay. It's awesome.
I feel like key changes are always way more easier for the producer than the singer. You just move the MIDI.
Yes, exactly. Key changes.
Well, a simple one is fine for me. Like if it just changed at one point, I'd be fine. But when you change twice, then I got to really, as a songwriter, put my thinking cap on as a melodist to work out where I'm going to go with that, because I'm like,
that's so cool, because I only registered the one at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most people don't know
me
this
too. I didn't notice the
it's so
second. Yeah.
seamless and so unrecognizable, because he did such a good job with the construction.
Yeah.
Well, and you with the vocals is a great collaborative effort from you both.
It's actually one of my favorite collaborations that came out this year. Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad, because we have more stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you guys
so
working together on a record or an EP or just another single? Or...
Yeah. No, we're doing either like an EP or an album of some sort. So we've already, and these tracks are a little bit different, where I've kind of written most of it first, and then he's coming in and producing it. So I'm in the process of doing the vocals on one of them, which is sounding really beautiful, but it's very much got it's still in that 80s world, but it's definitely more in the rock kind of space rather than necessarily the synthy and the pop kind of space. So there's a lot of guitars. It's a little bit more like a Metallica-y kind of vibe, like that kind of glam.
Oh, nice.
That sounds great. How many key changes in it though?
No key changes in my song. None. I have one where like there's a slight change in the, like a slight adjustment in key, but it's not like a full-blown key change. But yeah, I'm just really excited for the work that we're doing, because it does have that. It allows me to bring out the rockier, grittier side of my voice compared to the sweeter stuff that I do with other producers, where it requires more of a pure kind of tone. And these are my Vault songs as well. So these are songs I've sat on for so many years. The stuff I'm doing with him is what I would consider my best written work that I've ever done. And I've written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, doing all my top lining and my songwriting side of things. And these are the ones that I've sat on because they were really personal to me. And they felt really, really good songs, but they didn't feel good enough for me to give away to anyone, nor did they feel poppy and modern enough to try and do as pop singles as a modern pop artist. So once I kind of morphed into ELYXIR, these songs started to make a lot more sense for my brand as ELYXIR than they did when I was just doing songwriting.
Awesome. So I know that you've been doing music for quite some time. You mentioned that it's about 10 years, right?
Yeah.
How did you get started, and what's your history like? How has the journey been for you?
Yeah, so I actually more have been songwriting. So I've been trying to cut into the sync markets, the publishing markets for years and years and years. No, get away. Stay here. I've been trying to get into those markets. And it's been really hard. So for the first few years, I didn't have any of my equipment. I had like the most basic stuff. And I went to an event with our pro organization here in Australia called APRA. And the guy who co-wrote Praying by Kesha was there doing a seminar. And I was in his very small seminar, and he was talking about pop top liners and explaining that there's really, really good money if you can get a Billboard hit. You know, you'll have 6 figures and it's all la-di-da and it's really, really great. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you could make any money in songwriting. So I'm going to try and do that. And so I kind of had to start at the very bottom. And the first year, I just had no idea how to engage with anyone, how to connect with anyone, how to collaborate with people. And when you start at the very beginning, you're in this really awkward position because basically anyone with any kind of experience just will not work with you at all because you've got nothing. They go, oh, what can you show me? And you've got absolutely nothing at that point. And so I spent like 6 months trying to work with people to no avail at all. And then I kind of went to a different event and they suggested I go onto something called Vocalizer, and which is where like singers and top liners and producers can connect and pay each other to collaborate on music for various projects. And so I used that to kind of start writing really bad songs. Like all the first year or two of my music is terrible. It's all really because like I'm learning, you know, and you don't know what you don't know. You think when you start that everything you do is just amazing and the best ever, and then you get down the line and you realize it was all hot garbage.
What was particularly bad about it?
Like you have to write heaps of really bad songs to get to really good ones. That's just how it is. So I did that. I worked with people, and then I used the work that I'd done with bedroom producers and stuff to then get work with the next group of producers, and then to get work with the next group. And then I was in part of Taxi, which is like an A&R group in the States, and they send out briefs. And so I started doing brief writing, where I would get like a brief for an artist. They wouldn't say who it was, but they'd say they want a song that sounds like X, Y, and Z. And then me and the team would just build that song, send it in, get rejected, spent the whole first year just getting rejected on everything, getting angry about everything. But then eventually it started to shift and we all started to get better. The producers really started to step up and they grew in their skills. And eventually I got signed with a publisher in Europe to do briefs for Asia, for like Korean pop music mainly, and a bit of Japanese and a bit of Chinese pop. So then I started doing that market, and I got sucked into that market. I loved doing that. It was allowing me to do all sorts of weird melodic things that kind of were a little bit more dramatic than the conversational pop I was being made to do for the modern stuff, which I just hated because I just find it blasé. And so I did that, and I got, eventually after 2 years of that, I got a cut in Taiwan, which has never been released. I mean, I got paid for it, it's written, it's ready to go, but they've just never done anything with it. I've had holds for some of the biggest bands in the world, like twice. And they've got like the #1 physical sales album at the moment or something crazy. One of my good friends, she wrote like 3 of the songs on there. She's just killing it. And yeah, so I did that for, I don't know, 3 years, and pushed and pushed and pushed, and I just was getting nowhere. Because again, it's that case of when you haven't had your first cut and you haven't had your first level of success, all the people at the top of the chain, the record labels, the publishers, they all very much are like, you know what, we want to go with someone who's a more of a safe bet. So they often will go for writers and producers that have already had stuff out. So you get trapped in this loop of trying to get your stuff out and trying to get cut, but people going, oh, well, you haven't had proven success yet, so we're not going to take a punt. So I've been trapped in that loop for, I don't know, 4 years. And I mean, I have like 7 publishers across Europe. One of my producers has just started working with a label in America to start doing American pop. So I am going to start writing with some American pop artists, which will be cool. But then, yeah, I don't know, you get very disenfranchised and bitter over time, I think, when you're just getting that much failure. And I don't think people realize that songwriting is just as difficult a career as artistry. Like, it's really difficult to cut through. It's really difficult to convince writers to let you work with them. It's really difficult to get even your music anywhere near publishers, let alone actually cut by songs. Even when your publishers believe in you, when they try and push you to labels and stuff like that, it's really, really difficult. And I just became, I was really sad about it, because I'd worked so hard and I still felt like I was just running on a treadmill instead of actually moving forward. But at the same time, all my work was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So one day this year, I just kind of decided, you know what, I have some songs that feel really precious to me, and I'm kind of sick of feeling like I'm going nowhere. And if I'm going to go nowhere in this songwriting thing, if this is going to be a big colossal failure for me, I'd like to actually enjoy failing. I like to enjoy not getting anywhere. So I'm going to go and I'm going to actually try and be the artist instead. And I'm just going to do all of my best work, all the stuff that I think is a little bit too niche for mainstream pop, that's a little bit left of center. And I'm just going to release it myself, and I'll use all the experience I do have with working with a couple of artists and with my songwriter hustling in terms of like social media and marketing and all of that kind of jazz, because I have a pretty strong understanding of that side of things. So I was like, I'll just use that, and I'll just release my own stuff, and I'll make my goal that I want to have an album done that is physically released in the world, so that, you know, when the apocalypse comes, my CD will be just like in the dust. And so I switched over and I moved to that, and I'm really happy that I did, because I got more acceptance and more support in the span of maybe 2 months from people than I had in like 7 years of trying to songwrite. Like, the support was just amazing. And you know, when I started releasing these songs, I really just didn't know if anyone would like them at all. Like, Mother Mania to me felt like an enormous risk, because I was like, listen to the lyrics of this thing. Like, this thing is like, your calculated distraction through algorithmic destruction. Like, who's going to resonate with this? Who's going to, like, I knew I did. I knew I resonated, but I was like, who's going to actually like this? Like, is anyone? Am I just going to throw this out and it's going to be like, oh, you're too political, hasta la vista? But it really resonated with people. And I think it's like the song that I've done that's resonated the most, which, you know.
We all loved it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, because, you know, Mother Mania is a really weird title. And but yeah, it seems to have really paid
It's really
off. And
catchy. I thought you did well with writing the lyrics for that song. And then from what I heard, I think you mentioned that you wrote lyrics in like in no time. Like, it was like in 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty fast, because that's how I've been trained to do it. And I mean, for me, it's like I get the base out, I get the general premise out, and once I know exactly what I want to say, that's when the ideas flow really quickly. And because I have so much experience writing music, construction is not an issue for me at all. Rhyming stuff is not really an issue for me at all. And you can always tweak things. So I'll often write the whole song very, very quickly. Usually I'll try and keep it under 20 minutes. And then I'll go back and I'll revisit and I'll tweak and I'll play. I actually do this technique that I got taught by my mentor in the States, where you write a song every day for 30 days, and every song has to be written in under 20 minutes. And it doesn't have to be good songs. You're not trying to get good songs. What you're trying to do is get ideas out. You're trying to get lines. You're trying to get melodies. You're trying to get little pieces that you can then go back and you can filter out all the crap and go, that one line was fantastic. I can build a whole new thing around that. And I've really found that when I know exactly what I want to say and I know how to express what I want to say, it flows really quickly. It's when I have confusion in my head about what I want to say or what I want to express in the song, that's when I get caught up in everything and it doesn't gel as quickly.
How is it like moving from being behind the scenes, right? Because a lot of that songwriting and a lot of that like a lot of what you used to do is more like behind the scenes type of work, and now you are transitioning into more in front, like, you are developing the artist persona. How has that been like for you in terms of just the maneuver? Like, what are the differences? What
Yeah.
are the challenges that you're facing now?
Yeah, I think that it's a lot more public, and I think that it's a little tiny bit more exhausting because you really have to be on all the time. And I think any artist will say that, is when you're doing, we're expected as artists to just do everything ourselves. And we have to do all our marketing, all our social media. And when you're doing your social media, the way that our social media algorithmically is designed is that you have to be on that social media engaging with people for you yourself to get growth and exposure. So if you just are posting stuff here and there willy-nilly, and not engaging in your community, you don't grow. You need to put yourself as a product in front of the people who are best going to resonate with you, to get that initial momentum. I think once you've really got momentum going, audience can start finding you and coming to you. Especially, I've had a lot of that happen because I haven't really been doing a lot of my hustling on social media for a while now. And that's why I think my growth has slowed a little, because at the very start, I wanted to get my first, 1,000 people on everything, just to really start building that momentum. And then once I kind of got there, I slowed down a little bit because I had other stuff going on in my life and I was juggling lots and lots of different projects. But I found with this latest release with Zach, a lot of people are now finding me. So every day I'm getting new people in, and they're not just your typical follow unfollow bot or your marketing idiot. They're actual people who then contact me and say, oh, I actually found you because you worked with Zach and I really like that song. So once I start doing more and more collaboration, I'll get more organic growth, but you really do have to put a lot of work in with
Yeah, I
your
think
audience, knowing what they like.
you nailed it with the engagement part. I see it so much, it's like people just putting out stuff like they're holding a megaphone, blasting out stuff into the world. It's like at least half as much time goes into actually engaging with others, if not more. So
Yeah.
so that's
And not just about your
huge part.
music, like, who are you as a person? What are
For sure.
you passionate about? What are the things that your fans can resonate and connect with you on a personal level? I mean, that's why I do thrift shop Thursdays. Like,
I love your thrift shop Thursday.
I don't know if you guys would see that, but that's mainly an Instagram and a Facebook thing, because Twitter's really bad with images. So when you post images on Twitter, your reach rapidly gets reduced. So I don't even bother putting images or videos on Twitter, but Instagram is obviously the image and video place. And I do this like thrift shop Thursday thing where every Thursday I put a picture up of something that I bought from a thrift shop. And it seems really silly, but like thrift shopping is a big part of my life. It's, you know, part of my personality, and how I present myself and how I dress is, you know, part of my artistry as well. So I like to express and show that in different ways. Or if it's, you know, videos of my cats in my stories, or my flashback Fridays where I show little pieces of my life so people can connect with me outside of just this is my music, listen to my music, listen to my music. Because I just feel like that doesn't create relationships. It just, you're just
Yeah,
going
no,
like this.
exactly. This
No.
goes with that brilliant article by Johnny Fallout and Life Patterns about, you know, you gotta share who you are, right?
Gotcha.
It's not just about music. No one, let's face it, no one cares about your links to your Spotify or your Bandcamp. You know, they don't care. They just
Yeah.
want to see you.
Yeah.
I think we're
And
also in that
people,
age where people are really hungry for that real, genuine connection.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know, and
and they're
especially they
hungry for
love to
authentic
get
people.
what's that? Sorry, come again?
I said they're hungry for authentic people.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then they want like this they especially love it getting from talented folks and from folks who are trying to do big things, and you know, who are doing things that are inspiring, and diving in and being able to gain perspective, you know, from those people. I think to them are very, 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 it's very valuable. And yeah, just that human connection is so valuable today. I mean, I crave it too. Like, you know, I am on Twitter every day constantly. I'm actually on it like way too much, I think, because I really I love our Twitter fam. I love
Yeah.
like, you know, Twitter Sid fam. I think like everyone's so brilliant. Everyone's really funny, hilarious, and really good-hearted. And but they also, you know, once in a while you'd see like really poignant posts or things that would really make you think, you know, and then so it's like a nice back and forth kind of like I always learn something new every day, like on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah, I definitely will put my 2 bobs worth in if I see something on Twitter in our community that I'm like, "Mm, I don't think this really sits right with me," or if I wanna share a different perspective, like, you know, given that, you know, the females are like, what, 15% or something of our community? It's pretty small.
It's that much?
Like,
It was
you
like a
know?
lot less.
It's pretty small, and sometimes I think it's good to have that kind of point of view. Sometimes I just shut my gob because I'm just like, "Oh, okay." Whatever, you know? But it's, you know, and even about music, like, I have controversial opinions in terms of I really think that people will try and start releasing music too soon before they've done any artist development. I said that in quite a lot of interviews, and that's a very uncommon perspective to have because most people's advice is get music out there, get straight into it. And my kind of advice is don't do that. Don't put music onto Spotify and put music onto Bandcamp, because if you put out, like if I put out as ELYXIR the stuff I was writing 5 years ago, I would not have the respect and reception that I do, because that music was garbage. Like it just wasn't at an industry standard. And there's so many ways now that you can be working on your craft and working on stuff without having to physically have it on Spotify. Like you can use Discord, you can use Reddit, you can use SoundCloud. There's so many communities that will help and assist you in growing in your skill set before you choose to debut, because you get one shot. You get one chance to put your name out there as an artist and say, this is who I am, this is my brand, this is my, you know, persona, and this is my aesthetic and my sound. And I just, you know, and then people are very nice these days. So people aren't going to turn around to you and say your music's hot garbage, because that's just mean. Like no one's going to say that. But then what will happen?
Well, people actually do say that.
Like,
People say that. I actually just saw that recently. Like I like just like, you know, several hours ago I just saw someone like really oh my god, tearing down someone else's work directly. You
yeah,
know, but-
and like it's hard. But then what happens is that instead people will go, oh, that's nice, but then they won't listen to it, and then they won't playlist it, and then you'll get very, very minimal engagement, and then you'll get really depressed and sad. Like that's how people vote with their ears, I guess. And it's like, if you had just waited, because there's no rush. We are so lucky that we live in an era where you don't have to be some young, hot 18-year-old to have success in music. You can be 50 years old or 60 or 70. Age doesn't matter. So you've got time in the world to develop and really understand yourself and what you want to do. So that's all I say. I just say give yourself the time to grow and develop, because everybody thinks they're awesome at the start and basically nobody is. Myself included.
So that's a really interesting perspective, because you're right. There's a definite drive to kind of share early, share often, share what you're working on, and yeah, maybe we have evolved now to a point where yes, those platforms exist and there are places to do that, but probably professionally releasing onto the major music platforms is not it. It's a very interesting perspective, and also kind of speaks to your, what is it, a decade of at least of experience of songwriting and top lining.
Because we get so much feedback. People are so friendly. And there's a lot of people, particularly in our scene, who do have a lot of experience that will, if you ask for genuine, private, honest feedback, maybe not like public slamming, but if you ask for genuine feedback, trust me, producers and people will give it to you. And everyone will have a different opinion, and you can like take different bits and stuff. But like, particularly with production, you need to have years of experience of being able to hear the difference, because I couldn't hear the difference, but I can now. I can listen to mixes and I can tell when they needed to adjust their EQs, if their compression is good or not. I can talk all the producer lingo, like when I'm working with people, because I've built the ears. I've listened to thousands of songs and I've worked with thousands of productions, and you actually start hearing things that you just could not hear. And that takes time. So if you don't have that experience and that time of experience, then you're not going to be able to hear those things. So you'll hear your mix and you'll hear a professional on the radio mix by the weekend, and you won't be able to physically hear a difference. But someone with 5 years of producing and understanding will hear significant differences, and they'll be able to tell you those differences, and then you'll be able to tweak and play, and you'll train your ears that way. So I don't know, like that's just my view. I mean, if people want to do it, like, go ahead. I'm not saying, don't do it.
Hard to disagree. Well, actually, it's probably easy to disagree, to be honest. And I bet there's a lot of people that do disagree. But I, for one, I it's a very, very valid point. And I think we just, it might not even be their fault. I think we've covered this before in previous episodes, but it's the fact that somehow we've come to a point where people are made to feel like they have to be releasing stuff almost every week, and that's not healthy, is it?
It's not healthy.
No, not at all. Unfortunately, it's the way the streaming industry works. It's so much in terms of building your momentum as an artist. You're way more advantageous to just do singles every 4 to 6 weeks than you are if you put out whole albums, because when you put out a whole album, you're putting out 8 or 10 songs at once that people are then going to be spread across the board listening to. Whereas if you released like 6 of them as singles, you're spreading that out and building more and more and more over time. So it's really pushed this singles kind of thing.
And I personally, I have nothing against that. I'm a singles guy, like, all the way. But the fact that you still don't need to do it, every 4 weeks. I'll do a single like every 3 months. Even then, it's not like it has to be.
But it's frequent. It's like a release strategy rather than a writing strategy, I think, isn't it? You should probably write 12 tracks and then release one a month, rather than write and produce, rather than trying to write, produce, and release. I think that's where it really falls down. Is if you're rushing to write, then you've got a bit of an issue.
Absolutely. So I think like working well and truly in advance is good. I mean, I have like my releases kind of set until April of next year. So I'm like, I work well and truly ahead. But yeah, it's one of those things that you do have to, like I'm only going on social media and posting 3 days a week at the moment, because I need a lot of time, because I got to start writing all my bad songs to find my good songs, and that takes time. So over the rest of the year, now that my 3 songs and my cover have been released, I'm like, that's enough for people for this year. That's enough work for a debut. So, I'm giving myself a break and taking, you know, I think 8 to 10 weeks between this release and the next one.
Yeah.
Just so that I can actually, because I got to sit down and I got to filter through all the crap in my brain to find all the nuggets. And then get that stuff kind of preparing. Plus, I've got all the stuff I'm doing with Melio, working on that as well. And I might even potentially do a little bit of a more 80s synth, like a synth pop little EP of maybe 3 or 4 songs as well at some point next year. So, plus I've got other collaborations too in the works. So it's busy.
Busy times in the world of Elixir. Do we have time for a quiz before we head?
Yeah,
into
we have some time. We have about we're 36 minutes in, so we have time.
All right,
for
let's shoot up a quick quiz before we move on.
Thank you for all the insight as well. This has been a fascinating discussion.
This is really insightful. Thank you so much, Elixir.
No worries at
really
all.
great.
Hopefully people learn something or find something interesting.
Yeah, no, this is great. That's why we do these shows and we do the blog, because you know, we want to bring in perspective from different artists and see how they do it. And also, I love histories. Like, I always ask, like, you know, how did you get to this point? Like, you know, what's your life like? So thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah,
It is important.
no worries at all.
Very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Sorry. Thorson, let's
Yes.
do this.
All right, so I've got 7 questions. I am going to set the rule that Elixir gets first right to answer. Is our guest. Second answer, if you guess this wrong, we will alternate between Serena and Jake. I will choose on a individual basis who gets the second of right. All right, question number 1. What is believed to be the first ever musical instrument?
The voice?
According to my sources, that's wrong. Jake next.
You had to
Jake?
come to me. What's more kind of
more
fundamental
primitive?
than the voice?
Yeah.
What is it, like two rocks together, or?
No, it's not that either. No,
Oh.
not according to my sources, at least. Serena.
The first musical instrument would be a drum.
No, it was in fact a flute.
Oh,
And that comes
wow.
from extensive Google researching.
That is a very complicated instrument to be the
Yeah,
first instrument.
I think
Yeah, isn't it easy to like just like being on them?
all right.
Yeah, just flash it wrong though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we need some archaeologists. I think that's the word to back this up. But no right answers for this round. Okay, question number 2. In what year did Kraftwerk release their first debut album titled Kraftwerk?
I'm gonna pass.
You're gonna pass. It's
In the
simple.
80s?
Just guess a year.
80s?
The 80s. No.
80s.
That's wrong. So Serena, you get second.
Oh my god, oh god. 81, because that's the year I was born.
No, wrong. Jake.
I think it's 70s. I'm going to go for 1974.
Ah, close, but not quite. It is 1970.
Oh my God.
Shit. Wow.
I literally wrote that down on my piece of paper. Like, I don't know whether you can see it there, 1970. And then I completely bottled it at the end. I was like, that's far too early. It can't have been 1970.
Man. Well, yeah,
Oh,
they
man.
were early. It actually surprised me that.
I know that they've been around much longer, but wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70 is like yeah.
They weren't far
11
off
years.
inventing the first instruments with that, were they? They might have been all played on flutes.
Did
Who
they have
knows?
flute?
Probably, yeah. Imagine that. The first Kraftwerk album was 11 years BC, 11 years before Serena. Number 3.
Nice.
Question 3. We're still at 0-0-0. It's a 3-way draw at the moment. Which music streaming service or company said service belongs to has the highest stock price per share?
So,
Which
Spotty,
No, it is not Spotify.
or is it Deezer?
No.
Is it Apple?
Well, you get one. Jake, you're next.
Does someone
so-
want to take Apple?
Which music streaming service has the highest
Or
share?
company said service belongs to has the highest stock price per share.
Well, I mean, Apple is the world's most wealthy company, isn't it? So it must be Apple Music, surely.
It is not Apple. No.
Oh, what?
Ah, is this a trick?
Maybe.
Maybe it's fake.
what other companies are there? What other streaming sites are? Oh, Amazon.
Wait,
Is it
actually, okay. Well, I didn't check Amazon.
This quiz. What is going on here?
It's gotta be Amazon.
It is
Evil-
actually.
evil
I had Google, and I even had this wrong because Amazon has 3,500, Google has 2,900. So that is a correct answer.
So it's
Never
Amazon.
seen before. I had to go in and
Amazon.
change the answer. This is
There you go.
obscene.
See?
All right, moving on. Question 4. We're halfway through now, and Serena is in the lead with 1. Which artist performed to what is reported to be the highest attended concert ever?
These are hard questions, Doris.
Yeah, I might have lied.
Okay.
They're quite hard.
Is it? Oh, I'm so terrible. Is it Ed Sheeran?
No, not according to my sources.
Well-
We got Serena next.
Michael Jackson.
No, again, not according to my sources.
Oh wow.
Right,
I
over,
question your sources.
over 3 days, Robbie Williams played to 125,000 people 3 times at Nebworth Park. Is it him?
No, it is not him. Not according to my sources. My sources, they say that it's Jean-Michel Jarre.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a free concert, so it's kind of cheating, but it was like millions.
You need to ask these questions on like a synth enthusiast podcast or something. They'd get that.
Well, there's no, they would hate the stock share question.
They would hate the stock shares question. They would hate the fact that it's Amazon.
Okay, 5. We got a couple of finish the lyrics questions. First one, ELYXIR, is purple.
Rain?
No.
Purple.
Jake.
Purple rain, purple rain.
No. Serena.
Oh my god. I don't know any other songs in purple.
Purple turtle. I don't know.
Purple
No,
Paradise, but that's Pink Paradise. That's Bunny X's song. It's
Yeah. It's a perfect paradise.
oh, perfect.
I could
No,
bop.
unfortunately,
I could bop
it's not that either. Okay, yeah, so these might have been harder than I anticipated. This one was supposed to be mean, to be fair. The rest of the lyrics, so it goes Purple People Eater, sung by Shep Woolley, released in 1958.
I would not have guessed
Nice
that.
one.
Purple
No,
Rain is
I mean-
easier.
Yeah, it was too easy. That's why I changed it the last minute. Okay, so we're at the second to last question, which is also a fill in the lyrics. This one, so it's like line and then the second line after that line in the lyric. Okay, it's not just a word. And the first line is Aurora Borealis comes in view. No?
I don't know. Aurora Borealis comes in view. What?
Aurora Borealis comes in view.
Nah.
No?
This is a Bjork song that I don't know about.
It's not a Bjork song, no. It is. I'll give you a hint. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's a flock of seagulls.
Oh no.
I'm out.
I'm
Have I got
out.
any? Have I got any points in this quiz? I got
Nah.
0.
I'm pretty
No,
sure,
no,
like,
no,
I'm pretty sure our audience would be
This is-
typing the answers. So audience, type away if
This is
you know.
bad. This is bad for my credibility, Thorsten, to have 0 in a quiz.
Yeah, it's not looking good, Jake. It's not looking
Yeah.
Okay, the last one. I'm gonna say the answer now. The last one is Aurora comes in view. It's like it's the I ran so far away, and it goes like Aurora comes in view. You know?
I think I know the song, but I didn't know those were the lyrics.
Oh well, okay. It's like it's the only part of the song that I always remember. It's like
Yeah,
why
no,
did
but
he
I'm
put
just like,
why did they
some-
put Aurora Borealis into a
sometimes I
song?
just, I just hear the melodies and go, yeah. I don't really know the lyrics.
Okay. So Serena in the lead, 1-0-0.
With one.
Last and final question. This is for a tie. You can get a draw, Elixir, or a two-way win. Last question. Who is credited as being the creator of the wall of sound production technique?
Oh my god.
I'm
Oh,
useless this
so-
morning. I have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay.
Can I take credit for that? Is it me?
I wish we could all take
Choose me.
credit.
Choose me. Choose me.
Oh, walls.
Oh, okay, Jake, you're next.
I know the answer.
You know the answer.
Yeah, it's Phil Spector.
No, it's Serena.
Ah, what?
No, it is Phil Spector. You're right.
Are you referring? Oh, you're talking about the industrial water sound. That's definitely Serena.
I normally do a
no,
wall
you-
of kicks. A wall of kicks and toms. Yeah, that's
I got a question right. I got a question right in the
You
quiz.
did get
the
a question
impossible
right.
quiz.
Wow.
Your-
There you
your
go, we're
Your
tied.
credit's up. Great stuff. One
Congrats!
Serena, one Jake. Unfortunately, 0 for Elixir.
Yeah. All right.
That's the end. That's the end of the quiz.
That's the end of the quiz. Well, I think it is time because we are almost 50 minutes in, and but before we say goodbye to Elixir, I do. Well, we can play the video after we say goodbye to Elixir so that she can go to work. But if you guys have any other questions, Jake, Thorson.
No, just want to say this has been amazing. Thank you. So interesting to hear your story and your points of view. I feel like we could probably sit and fire questions at you for another 3 hours and have a great discussion. So,
This is
maybe-
really great because like I like it when like I don't have to ask you a lot of questions. You just take one question and then you just go like, basically like stretch it really thin and not stretch it really thin, but like
I'll
you
just do
really
a
go.
casual lecture on this and this and this and this from one simple question.
Yeah, I know. Like you just go, like you just run with it. I love it.
I can't help myself.
yeah.
I get on one line and I'm like, I'll just explain all of this as well.
It
love
was
it.
very, very insightful, and I bet a lot of people could learn so much
Yeah.
from watching
Yeah.
the first
And
part
if
of this
anyone wants
this
to,
section, not the quiz.
Connect with me, feel free to do so because like I'm a pretty chill person. So just come find me on socials and stuff and say hi because I'm chill.
Yeah, absolutely. Has it been difficult connecting because of the different the very, very vast time difference? Like
Nah, I am so used to running on everybody else's time schedule.
okay.
So used to it. Like the amount of times I've had to get up at like 4 a.m. so that I can have a meeting with someone in America and someone in Europe at the same time is just I'd have a lot of money if I was counting. Like so it doesn't really bother me. And I just kind of connect as soon as I see a message or something, usually I respond pretty quickly. Unless it's like something creepy about my feet or my armpits or something, and then I'm just like
Yeah. Understandable. Fully understandable that.
But yeah, it's been a real joy being on the show. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you
for
for
sure. It's a
coming.
pleasure. Thank you for coming and thank you for waking up extra early just to do this. It really means a lot to us. And
No worries at all. And I hope that you enjoy my acoustic number 2.
Yeah, so this is Feels Like Magic.
I am going to be leaving as well, so it's double
Yeah.
double
then-
leads. So I'm gonna leave you with the classic: stay smooth, stay stashy, and stay sexy.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a look now at Feels Like Magic by ELYXIR and Sander Gavin.
My love, you are the destination. You are the journey and the view. You capture all of my attention with those eyes of angel blue, so heavenly you. And it's so nice, and I feel so alive tonight. Just you and I in paradise. Oh, my love, it feels like magic with you. Oh, my love, it feels like magic. Can you feel it too? In your arms, it feels like magic. I'm falling deep in this oasis, this little universe of ours. But we can never let them in, no. If they knew just who we are, they'd tear us apart. And it's so nice, and I feel so alive tonight. Just you and I in paradise. Oh, my love, it feels like magic with you. Oh, my love, it feels like magic. Can you feel it too? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. In your arms, it feels like magic. My pulse skips a beat as the dimples in your cheeks flush like roses in the springtime. And darling, all I know is that you feel like home, and I haven't felt this way in such a long time. My pulse skips a beat as your hand brushes my knee. I just wish that I could call you mine. 'Cause darling, all I know is with you I am home. Yeah, it feels like magic. Oh, my love, it feels like magic with you. Oh, my love, it feels like magic. Can you feel it too? Oh, oh, in your arms, it feels like magic. It feels like magic. It feels like magic. It feels like, it feels like, it feels like magic.
That was fabulous. She's so awesome.
That was so good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed ELYXIR so much. If you guys want to support ELYXIR, please follow her on her IG and her Bandcamp. Details on this flyer. So how's it going?
Yeah, good. Good, good, good. I'm busy, but it's yeah, I'm good. How about you?
It's really busy.
You're
Well, I
busy.
have
You've got videos to shoot and all sorts going on.
yeah, I have Medusa coming out. I think it might have already yeah, it might have already released by the time we air this episode. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have the music video and new single coming out and then preparing for the release of the big giant record early 2022. Yeah, lots of
Nice.
work. Lots of music videos to shoot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good.
Yeah. All right. So tonight we got well we have ELYXIR and I wanted to showcase this submission that I received and it's from an artist that I really well a couple artists that I really adore and it's Vampire and Kel Horror. They're releasing a new music video on December 3rd, and we get to see it first. And it's called Afterlife. So Vampire, I call him Vivi because he spells vampire with a
Yeah,
double
is
V.
that how you say it? Because when I got to playing this track on the radio show, I was like, oh my goodness.
I just call him Vivi because I think
Yeah.
it's cute. So I know that he actually did a remix of I believe it was Mother Mania
Okay.
by ELYXIR. So like and I think ELYXIR might be appearing in one of his records that are coming out pretty soon. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at Afterlife by Vampire and Kel Horror.
Your eyes are filled with fear, watching me step out the deer, making these girls fall silent. There's no love in my violence, lost himself to desire, setting his heart on fire, through the mid like a siren, as my grip starts to tighten.
So that was Vampire and Kelherer with Afterlife. Some sick party that they were having in that music video.
I know that was cool. I love a bit of UV. It was
Yeah,
some great neon and UV going on there. Great use of that, I thought.
lots of beautiful visuals and the glitter and the colors. Yeah, it's been a while since the pandemic for sure, but, I haven't seen any parties or any giant group of people like that in a very long time, and I surely do miss it.
Yeah, definitely. What is this? What is this? What sort of music is this? Is it horror synth? Is that the kind of genre?
Um, you know what? It's so eclectic.
Mm.
Like, it has a lot of different elements going on. It didn't really strike me as super dark horror synth. It has some, like, some darkness in it, but I look at it more as, it's really dark electro,
Mm.
dark electronica maybe. For sure, I'm pretty sure Vampire is going to be typing down typing out, like, what, like, his thoughts on, his specific style of music. But it's a blend, and there's a little
Yeah.
bit of trancey parts, there's some, like, a little bit of techno elements to it, so it's an amalgamation of
Yeah,
different
I played the Draven. Is it Draven or Draven remix of Your Flesh
driven.
Draven? Yeah, your flesh is calling on Electrodrome, and the thing I really liked about it was it's like really driving. It's really
Mhm,
high energy, but it's not like high energy dark sort of it's always uplifting. And it's intense for sure, but it's still melodic
mhm.
and got that kind of electro sound to it, which I really love. It's great sounding music. Love it.
Great to yeah, and he's awesome, and I've been watching him, like, make all these releases, and it's really exciting, and they're doing this, I guess since we're airing this episode much later, I always have, like, this confusion when it comes to, like, time. But, they were doing this game with Twitter, all over Twitter where, they took pieces of this music video and they split it into 6 different pieces, and then they just sent it to 6 different individuals, including ABSYNTH, actually. And then, each one of us posted it without any indication of, who the artist is or what the video is about and whatnot. We just said release date December 3rd. And then the game was, people all over Twitter are supposed to, um, put all of the pieces together or find them. It's
Right.
kinda like an Easter egg hunt, So I don't know, who won that game, but I'm sure they had a winner by now.
Yeah, nice. What was the prize? A night out in a nightclub after
I
2
think,
years off?
something like I think it was, a bank account code. I'm not sure. I have to look at
Nice.
it again. Yeah. Um, but it's always fun whenever you can engage the community and
Yeah, I
fun
love that.
games
It's a
like
great
that.
idea.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah.
So you brought in Let's Eat Grandma, which you actually reviewed their latest release, or actually the release prior to this latest one.
Yeah, they're really interesting band. I mean, I'll hold my hands up and say I suppose one of the reasons I first sort of knew about them or came across them is they're from my hometown, and my hometown is a place called Norwich. It's the easternmost city in Great Britain, and it's not famous for having really any musical scene. It has 3 amazing venues, so it's a great place to tour, and it's a great place for bands to come to. But there aren't a ton of famous musicians or artists from Norwich. Probably the most famous is Kathy Dennis, who probably I'm not sure that
Mm.
she's that well known, but she wrote "Can't Get You Out of My Head" by Kylie Minogue. So she's a big
Oh,
writer,
wow. Oh,
song
wow, that's cool.
songwriter. Yeah, and probably a few others as well. But she's not really famous for music. So it's been really cool to see Let's Eat Grandma become a thing. And the name, by the way, let me just explain the name for those. I'm sure people are wondering. The name is a punctuation joke. So the fact that you put a comma between eat and grandma, and the sentence "Let's eat grandma" means something different. So it's like "Let's eat grandma" or "Let us eat grandma." You know. Anyway, for fans of punctuation jokes, it's a good one, I think. And I suppose that's where the name comes from. The other thing that's kind of fascinating about them is they've known each other since they were 4 or 5 years old, and they released their first album together, I think, when they were 17, and then the second one when they were 19. So by that time, they'd known each other sort of 13, 15 years, which that's a pretty intense kind of relationship, really, to then be in a musical writing relationship. And I think you can hear some of that in their music, and you can certainly see it when they perform. There's a real sort of closeness about the way that they do that. And then more recently, so they have 2 albums. I, Gemini was the first. I'm All Ears, which became quite a big album, really. One of the tracks was produced by Sophie. It's called Hot Pink. So that got quite a bit of recognition. Great.
Oh, Sophie.
Yeah, I know. And you can actually really you can feel that kind of imprint in the track as well. It's it's a really sort of huge sounding production.
Yeah.
And then really sort of tragic story, really. The 2 people in Let's See Grandma, it's Rose and Jenny, and Jenny's long-term boyfriend died of a long-term condition when he was 22, so very recently, in the middle of their tour for the second album. And I think
22.
I know it's a really sad story, and obviously that that will have had a massive effect on their writing, their sort of existence as a duo. They cancelled their tour. They performed at Coachella because it was a dream of his to see them perform at Coachella, and one of his favorite festivals, but really more as a tribute to him than something that I feel like they were probably in the right sort of mindset to do. So they've been away for some time because of that, and I think very understandably that's a huge thing for the to have.
That's huge, yeah.
And I think you can see in some of the writing of the new album reflect some of the experiences they've been through together as 2 really good friends that have come through something as monumental as that. So yeah, fascinated to hear what the new album sounds like, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, we got 2 of their music videos tonight. We got Hall of Mirrors and 2 Ribbons. Which one do you want to show first?
Yeah, I guess just to explain why. Well, these are 2 new tracks from the new album, which will be released next year, I believe. And I think they demonstrate very well the Let's Eat Grandma songwriting approach. Hall of Mirrors is much more of their classic sort of synthy sound. And I think maybe we'll listen to that one first. And then 2 Ribbons really demonstrates some of their much more delicate, classic songwriting. I think 2 Ribbons is just vocal and guitar. So really, really different styles, but they really show some of their different approaches to the way they've written songs.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at their OG core sound, which is Hall of Mirrors first, and then we'll play 2 Ribbons. So this is Hall of Mirrors by Let's Eat Grandma.
Sat on the overground, I'm cold to the bone in this lonely town. Somebody tell me how I'm gonna work this out. And I thought of you, and there wasn't a girl that made me shy until until I talk to you. Somewhere in the night with a spell in your eyes, and it was all about you. The moment in time when our shadows collided and it's so true. You linked through my fingers and followed me into the whole universe. And now and then I'll be running around the bend, so I'd live this fucking life. Shut your eyes, and then I'll dig myself a trench, thorns at my bedside, writing letters that are riddled with regret. I said I know, I know, I know, I know your heart is locked, and this can only be inside the dream that I've been making up. But I thought of you, and there wasn't a girl that made me shy until I talked to you. Somewhere in the night with a spell in your eyes, and it was all about you. The moment in time when our shadows collided and it told the truth. You linked through my fingers and followed me into the whole universe. Raining down, I'm in the boarding lounge, bored of this weather and facing clouds. Somebody tell me how I'm gonna work this out. Slow down, where'd you wanna go? Now you're on my mind. Slow down, where'd you wanna go? Now you're on my mind. You, and there wasn't a girl that had made me shine until I talked to you. Somewhere in the night with a spell in your eyes, and it was all about you. The moment in time when our shadows collided and it's so true. You linked through my fingers and followed me into the whole universe.
So that was Hall of Mirrors by Let's Eat Grandma. And we're going to take a look at another one by them called Two Ribbons. So tight that
close, 'cause it's been ages, I know. 'Cause I haven't thought for weeks of anyone but you. And I wanna find the answer. I just want to be your best friend, just like it always was, just like it always was. Sometimes I become as translucent as my love. I'm bound to worlds that I can't be a part of. I'm not brave like the arms that held on to me. Just spread my wings in that snow. I lost the feel of my hands and feet. I put all my love. The truth will haunt you but set you free. 'Cause I haven't thought for months of anyone but you. And I wanna find the answer, but I can only be your best friend and hope that that's enough. But I know that's because there's nothing you can do with this point over. They say it's like the rains that come down in October. Watch them wash away. Watch them wash away. Watch them wash away. Watch them wash away.
That was a really pretty song.
Yeah, I think I got something in my eye while I was listening to that.
Yeah. And you know what I like about them? They're not trying too hard to be trendy or they're just cool.
Yeah.
And they can obviously deliver some, gut-wrenching, sad songs that are beautiful. Um, which
Ye
I don't see a lot these days. I don't see, before maybe what, a couple decades ago, Radiohead, those kinds of acts, um, really brought a lot of that, sad numbers, but they're beautifully written, Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't
I
see a
think,
lot of that anymore.
no, I totally agree, and there's a few things I think are just very interesting in the way they developed. We've talked about it a bit on the show, and I know we certainly talked about it a bit on Twitter, but obviously there's this whole thing in the music industry about the sort of fetishization of youth, and often it can be a very negative, can have very negative connotations and sort of exploitative connotations. But actually here, I think what you're seeing is two people who have been making music while they are very young together, and they've applied their own filter to it, and it's a sort of creative filter. And like you say, that they always seem a bit kind of untouchable in terms of the way they've used that to project their own reality and their own art, which I really admire. And I also just admire the confidence of it. Both of those tracks are over 5 minutes long. Apologies for anybody who's not a Let's Eat Grandma fan for playing you 11 minutes of their music, but I love them, and I think that shows a real confidence. They haven't been
Yeah.
made a 2.5 minute pop track to make sure that it gets the streams and all that sort of stuff. They've kept it to their own format, which I think is also just a great sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to see more of that. Just conviction that, like I don't have to follow any trends, or I don't have to follow any paradigms or boxes just to get my artistry out and creativity out. I think it's great. Yeah, and then they're charming, and then they seem there's something very pure about them. Like it's
Mhm.
and really really special.
Mm.
So that's Let's Eat Grandma. So the next artist that we have is Max Cooper,
Max Cooper.
who is playing live at the Acropolis, who is basically having the gig of my dreams.
Yeah, this is the pinnacle. I think this is the thing that you need to aim for. There's arena at the Acropolis.
Yeah. I need
I
to
mean,
be. Okay, I'll take the Parthenon. If I can't get the Acropolis, I'll take the Parthenon.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, I can talk a little bit about Max, and I think why I think he's a remarkable artist. Before I do that, I am conscious that last time I was on ABSYNTH, I did talk about Holly Herndon, who has a PhD. Max Cooper also has a PhD, but I'm not suggesting that every artist needs to have a PhD in order for me to like them. But
Thank God! Oh my God!
I do think it's quite fascinating when someone uses something they've really studied and it's obvious in their music. So his PhD is in computational biology, and I think in his music, he was also a genetics lecturer at University College London for a brief time.
That's incredible. Oh my God, these are like intimidating talents. Like if I meet them, I'll be like so intimidated. Like I don't know how I'd start the conversation without feeling dumb.
Yeah, well, I suppose. And then what's interesting to me about him is he does the whole range. So he will play everything from Bang Face, the sort of techno festival, right up to the Barbican and the kind of classical audience. And that's really interesting to me because certainly when he plays live, he can do the whole techno DJ thing where it's lights and sort of four to the floor kind of kicks, right up to the much more artistic kind of sort of more kind of high level performances.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fascinating. He definitely has that kind of viewpoint where he's bringing together some of his knowledge of biology, physics, science, electronica, technology. And
his visuals are amazing. Like I was looking through his music videos last night, and the people that he brings in to execute his music videos are like tasteful job, tasteful vision, very, very beautiful and emotive work.
Yeah, and he has this really clever. A lot of his music has, and the visuals and the music, I think, have this biological kind of component to them where they feel like they're organic and they're evolving. And a lot of his visuals they're kind of infrastructure-y, architecture-y things that
Right.
feel
They're very architecture-y and very, it's very artsy and it's experimental. I guess he is an experimental. I guess he's considered an experimental musician, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think is just super interesting about the way he does his style of music is, yes, there's a lot of loops involved, a lot of layering, but it never gets boring. It feels like it's always progressing. There's more detail, and the more you listen to it, the deeper you get into the design of it. He did some of the kind of binaural stuff where it feels like it's 360, like you're walking through a club with headphones on. And I also saw, if you dig through his Instagram, he's got an export of what his Ableton projects look like, and they are bonkers. I mean, they're like 200 lines in Ableton. Absolutely incredible stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I think he's a really, really, really interesting artist for sure.
Well, let's take a look at his little preview of the live at the Acropolis because it looks incredible. Like I want to be there. I want to go see it, and I do want to play there one day.
Yeah.
So let's just pretend it's me playing, okay, not Max Cooper. Let's pretend it's Zarina. I'm just kidding. This is Max Cooper live at the Acropolis preview.
Can I come and do the DJ set to warm up for you at the Acropolis? Is that okay?
Sure, Jake. Sure, you can even co-headline with me, Jake. As long as it's at Acropolis.
I should explain what's going on there. So the light show, you can see, I went to see Max Cooper live in a much smaller venue. It was only 150, 200 people in a small church, and what was really interesting about it is those visuals are very complex in the way they've been created. So the actual video of them is quite complex and the design is quite complex, but the way it's being projected is very, very simple. It's literally a projector onto a wall, and then usually 2 or 3 either side, so you get a 360-degree immersive experience. But as the music changes, the projection changes exactly in time with it. So it's a very simple execution. Yes, the original footage is really high quality, but it's not like he's using some mind-blowing projection system. It's quite simple, portable sort of system that he uses, and feels very, very immersive when you're there as well. And I think somewhere like the Acropolis would be an incredible place to see. I think he's done that gig. It's been filmed, and then this is the live footage of it.
Let me see if I can pull up that bar because I couldn't download
Okay.
the Barbican because it was like almost 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
And then and I couldn't do the from that segment on. Let me
Yeah.
see if I can do I'm gonna pilot this directly from YouTube.
All right, let's go.
Let's see. Okay. all of that applause. You know?
It's for us.
For us, for sure. For sure. Yeah, let's just pretend that was us. The applause was for us.
Yeah, I think what's happening in that one, he's got two screens. I think one in front of him and one behind,
Mhm.
creating that sort of 3D effect. It's a little hard to see on video, but yeah, it's a super immersive experience. Very cool.
It's so cool. And you know what? He doesn't even have to try too hard. You know, that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like he's just so cool. And I love the vibe of his music.
Yeah,
It's
it's interesting.
it has a very transportive feel. Like I feel like I'm in a different city or something. Like there's just something nice about like what he does, and it's so tasty. Like the synth sounds and the like the sound designs that he uses, and all of his choices are so beautiful, and they all work together. And it doesn't seem so complex, but I'm pretty sure it is like what you said. It is a 200 stem or over type of music, so it is really complex by design.
Yeah, I think so. This track probably is simplified a little live. There is some live control going on when he's playing it live, but certainly the recorded versions, some of them are super complex tracks. But yeah, as you say, it doesn't. You don't feel that when you listen to it. It doesn't feel like it's overproduced or anything like that. So yeah, it's clever.
It's very and it's clean. I love it. Yeah. So our last video for tonight. By this artist. Actually, last time we were together during the experimental episode, we discussed death beats or progressive synths, and this is actually an artist that belongs in that little trio. I think we showed Somber Lux and Snakes of Russia. So it's 000 or null null null. I think they go by both pronunciations. I think it's really 000, but then they have to type null 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 because you can't really type 000 on your right on your social media. But they're part of that little group of progressive synth death beats artists, and I was waiting for this music video from them for quite some time to include in that experimental episode, but it didn't make it the very last minute. But now we have it, and this one is called Motion Picture. All right.
That was so cool.
That was really cool. I love stuff like that, and I especially love it when they partner with a visual artist,
Mm.
to develop such a fine piece of material together.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's a different. It's a little different take on that sort of genre, perhaps of the Snakes of Russia.
Little different, yeah, little. Although they've had releases that were a little closer to Snakes of Russia and to
Okay.
Sombralax, where it's a little bit grittier. I know this one, motion picture is a little bit more light in the end.
Mm.
But I thought it was really, really beautiful piece of work.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, and the
Alright.
visuals with that are awesome as well. It's really they really work together so well, don't they?
Yeah. I just I just keep seeing these beautiful 3D and all sorts of next level digital art, emerging, and it's just so inspiring. It makes me want to learn all those programs and just dive in there. And then I know there are a few artists in our scene who do dabble as well. They're musicians, but they also dabble in that world, and they're so inspiring. They just do such a beautiful job, and I want to be able to take myself to into that level as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the evolution of video. I mean, I know video and music have always been sort of hand in hand ever since the sort of birth of MTV. They've always kind of had that alliance, but I do feel now like people are really taking it into their own hands, controlling it, and producing something they really feel integrates with their music, rather than it just being here's a glossy video which kind of drags you into the track. I agree. I find that really inspiring.
Yeah, and I think it's easier now. It's learning how to edit. I mean, a lot of
Mm,
definitely you can learn how to do some cinematography. You just need a good camera. It's really just gear. It's just the gear that you need, which is really a lot of it is the hardest part is because a lot of that gear is really expensive.
mm.
And like even with us, like we do everything, but it took us a couple years or more to really build the gear, to save up for it and then okay, buy the latest equipment or latest cutting edge equipment, but then only to find out that there's another new version of that equipment coming out that's much better, like, 6 months later. But
Yeah,
yeah, but everything else, like, you can learn how to do CGI, VFX. YouTube does a good job with, like, their
mm,
library of all of these, like, little lessons that you can just, like, watch on YouTube, and yeah, YouTube University. All of us are
yeah. We
alums
graduated from the
alums of
University of
YouTube.
YouTube. That's
Maybe
so
I can get a
true.
I I could get my PhD from YouTube University like Max Cooper and be just like
Yeah,
Max Cooper, yeah.
yeah. I think that's fair enough. I think I've studied enough to
I've
PhD.
exactly. I already got, like, my master's and PhD from
Yeah,
YouTube with everything that I've, like, looked up and researched, for sure.
yeah, absolutely,
Doctor's
absolutely.
arena.
I like it. It's got a ring to it.
Oh my god. Yeah, but I do admire the artists and producers who, who have that background,
Mm,
and it's such intense labor, in their history in terms of where they came from, what they've studied, and it's interesting to see how all of that translates into their work. And you do see, it's not obvious, but there is something, when I was watching Max Cooper, even though his setup was amazing, but if you look at him, he's really just like a simple dude, right? But there's just something special. Like there you can tell that there's something really special about this guy, and it's just fun to watch him. He doesn't even
yeah,
have to put on such a grandiose show, but he's just fun to watch.
yeah. I can imagine him lecturing me on genetics. as well as imagining him as a DJ. I like that. There's something really amazing about that
It's like,
combination.
yeah, like I wanna hang out with this guy, if I can get over my like shyness if I meet him
Yeah.
at first, because I definitely get intimidated, like, because he just seems so
I'm
awesome.
desperate to find a way to interview Max Cooper. I mean, that's on my list of targets at some point
We
to
should
find a way to interview
definitely try to get Max Cooper, Holly Herndon, Anna Meredith.
him.
Yeah, right?
That's a hell of a dinner party. A hell of a dinner party.
Right? I should definitely try to get all of them, in a room. Maybe they can do like StreamYard, which is the platform that we use, can host, I think, up to like 8 or 10 people. It would be nice to have like
But
a panel of
not the upcoming Christmas special. We don't need them in their Christmas jumpers. That might be too much for them, I think.
So there you go. Yeah, so I don't know if we've announced it yet because again, I don't know when we're airing this.
Oh yeah, for
But we're
the
definitely airing this before the Christmas special, but we are having a Christmas special on Absinthe. Um, we actually have a pretty big lineup already, and I'm actually nervous because I didn't expect like I invited a few artists and then expect like a bunch more like wanting to come join in, but we have a pretty nice big lineup, but everyone's performing a Christmas song or some sort of holiday track or reproduction of it or of some sort, and then or like me, I'm probably not gonna do a Christmas song. I'm probably gonna do something from my record that sounds the most Christmassy. um yeah, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Christmas songs have already been taken.
oh yeah, there's competition out there. I
There's a
mean,
competition, yeah, and I don't wanna be,
brutal.
like, the loser with, like, the worst take on the Christmas song. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go perform, something that I know really, really well, that I know I can control, and then there's no
Yeah, nice.
competition. Yeah. Yeah, so that's on December 17th, and also our season finale for Absinthe, season 1 finale. And
Wow.
then we're gonna yeah, no, it's been such a great run. 12
Mm,
episodes in 1 season, and it flew by.
it really did. It really did.
It flew by and thank you, audience members for supporting the show and listening to us ramble
It's a
about
it's a
music.
wonderful community. I've been so happy to be part of it in season 1, and yeah, it's been
Yeah.
it's been fantastic.
It's been really it's I always have a blast, doing the
Mm.
show, and I always learn something, and it's just nice to see, all kinds of music, all kinds of artists, and we've showcased a pretty nice wide range of genres in the show, but they all kinda sit together, which is, what we're trying to prove, music is much more universal. Electronic music, for sure, is much more universal. And, always look out for, like, really, really cool artists, that are emerging or maybe really big ones that have already emerged, but we just have never heard of it yet because, right now, everyone kinda is in their little bubble.
Yeah.
And this is what I always, wonder about these days, like, how do you discover new music, new great music nowadays?
Mm.
Because before, you just well, we haven't you had MTV, VH1 back in the day, um, Rolling Stones magazine, I guess, but or actually, back then, this is my favorite, we had record stores, we had the big, you know, Virgin Megastore per se, right? And then they always have, like, new artists that are being ushered forward. So you
Mm.
enter the store and then boom, like, these are the artists that they're pushing. So that's how I discovered music back then. But now how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's in a world of algorithms, it is tricky you can find yourself funneled into one thing really really quickly, and
Yeah.
that can be problematic because certainly, I mean, I found it super frustrating in the early days of algorithm based sort of music discovery, because it would assume that because you liked one band from one era that you'd like all the bands from that era. That's not really how it works, is it? It's more about the emotions you feel when you listen to the music, and probably some elements of the sound design, perhaps, that you're leaning towards it. And maybe algorithms are a little better at sort of directing you to that stuff now. Certainly the Spotify playlists have some quite good ways of capturing certain types of music, but you can very easily get yourself funneled into just listening to effectively the same group of artists over and over again. I think it's a massively important thing to try and break down. And I think shows like this have been amazing for me, because there's stuff that you've played on ABSYNTH that I would never have come across.
And these are all submissions that well, my number one source of information has always been Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, Twitter, and that's like, it's kind of like my barometer, and I always scroll just to see if there's something new. Well, what's new, or what's new, what's fresh. And I've definitely come across a lot of interesting and super fresh artists that we've showcased on this show because of Twitter. But they're also like artists who are in like split genres, and I'm starting to see that too. And I'm actually starting to become one of those artists, because if you look at my Spotify and my algorithms basically split into two. There's the synthwave retrowave group that where I started and first flourished, and then you start seeing now the darkwave industrial group, like in one end. But then these two groups almost never really join worlds in any shape or form. Like even though they're completely adjacent to each other in terms of like in the electronic music world, they're adjacent to each other, but they never mesh. So like, but there've been anomalies, like including this project, where it's already starting to bleed between the two worlds.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I kind of want to see more of that, actually. Like, I want to see, those are the gray areas, I guess. And I like, artists are in the gray areas. Um, and a lot of the music that for example, even let's say Let's Eat Grandma, where they're more in the pop circle, they're closer to mainstream. Um, but again, I don't really see them falling into any real specific genre, because they're not trying to be anything. Max Cooper, yeah, falls more in I guess, the experimental genre, but you said that he's also been doing some of that, like, techno DJ stuff, like, in his sets. So
Oh, you could easily mistake him for a techno DJ, I think. If you just happen to see him at a festival, that's probably what you would think. Interesting sounding techno DJ with some unusual kind of tracks, but I think definitely into that bracket.
Yeah. And then, he has this other layer that's a lot more conceptual and a lot more deep, and it's so fascinating,
It's not as good to dance to, though, that layer.
You know what? But it's the layer that I resonate to. Like, that's the stuff that I love.
Yeah.
Including the visuals and the presentation. You can tell that he really took his time developing, his work and how he presents them, and also how he does his shows. I think it's great. So, all right. So that concludes our show for tonight. It's been really awesome, as always.
Right. How good was ELYXIR? She was amazing.
She was really amazing, and I've been wanting to have her in the show. And she's really bright and funny, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
Super amazing voice, amazing vocals, and she's definitely someone to watch, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna grow super fast. And of course, Thorson's questions that really Those were
Equal.
hard.
I feel that my credibility is permanently damaged. They were too hard for me. My my
I should
musical.
have known the Kraftwerk one. I'm embarrassed that I didn't. I mean, because I don't really like look at the date in terms of like, oh, when did he release this?
Oh man,
That.
where did that come from?
Yeah, but no, but it's good though. It's good. He pushed our intellectual boundaries with
I love
those
a
questions. Yeah,
quiz. I love a quiz.
yeah. I got lucky with Amazon. See, he changed his answer. It wasn't his answer. Like I forced him to change his answer.
I'm right too. Yeah, you're the host. What you say goes.
I think it's funny. Well, we're gonna have more quizzes, and yeah, the next show is the big Christmas bonanza, December 17th. Big lineup. We're gonna announce who soon, unless we've already announced it.
True. Who knows what time will do.
Yeah, we probably have already announced it. Yeah. All right. Any last words for our audience, Jake?
I have no last words. Wonderful episode. Good to chat to you again. Thanks everyone for joining. It's been great.
All right. Well, good night, guys. Thank you. There's my outro.